By 1945, the Third Reich was a collapsing empire. As Allied armies closed in from all sides and bombs rained down from the sky, its leaders had one last desperate card to play. Not surrender, but retreat. They planned to disappear into a secret world carved beneath the earth, a subterranean network of fortresses built to outlast the apocalypse. This is the story of that underground empire and the manhunt for the men who tried to use it to escape justice. For decades, one question haunted investigators: did any of them make it out? The answer would lie hidden for nearly 30 years, buried just a few feet beneath a busy Berlin street. The story begins in 1943. With the tide of the war turning, Allied bombers were relentlessly pounding the industrial heart of Germany. In response, the Nazis launched one of the most ambitious construction projects in history. Their goal: move the entire command structure of the Third Reich underground. This wasn't just about building shelters, it was a paranoid, desperate attempt to create a network of fortresses, an empire below the earth that could withstand any attack and allow the regime to live on. From the capital in Berlin, to the Bavarian Alps, to the mysterious mountains of Silesia, a secret world of tunnels and bunkers was being blasted out of the very rock of Europe. At the very heart of this web was the Führerbunker, deep beneath the gardens of the Reich Chancellery in Berlin. A claustrophobic maze of 30 small rooms, it was shielded by a concrete ceiling nearly 10 feet thick. In this artificially lit tomb, the last deluded orders of the war were given, the nerve center of a world that was rapidly ceasing to exist. But the Führerbunker was just one piece of a much larger, more grandiose plan. Far to the south, nestled in the scenic Bavarian Alps, was the Obersalzberg complex, Hitler's mountain retreat. Beneath the peaceful scenery, a massive network of tunnels was bored into the mountainside, planned as an alternate seat of government. This sprawling system featured miles of passageways, private suites for Hitler and Eva Braun, and fortified entrances with heavy steel doors and machine gun posts. It was a fortress disguised as a vacation spot, a monument to the regime's delusion of creating an impenetrable alpine redoubt. Across the Reich, this construction frenzy was underway, architectural proof of a regime turning inward, burrowing into the earth as its dreams of a 1,000-year empire were pulverized from above. Of all these projects, none is more mysterious than the one codenamed Project Ries, or Project Giant. Hidden in the Owl Mountains of modern-day Poland, this was the most ambitious and enigmatic of them all. Between 1943 and 1945, using thousands of forced laborers from the Gross-Rosen concentration camp, the Nazis blasted 7 enormous complexes out of the hard rock. The scale is hard to comprehend. Multiple levels, halls soaring 40 feet high, underground railways and advanced ventilation systems. But what was it all for? The records were destroyed. High-ranking Nazis later claimed it was to be a new, impregnable headquarters. Its sheer size has led others to believe it was meant to house underground factories for producing wonder weapons, safe from Allied bombs. When the war ended, the project was abandoned, leaving a labyrinth of raw, gaping caverns. The truth remains lost in silent tunnels, fueling legends of hidden Nazi gold and secret atomic research, a powerful reminder of the regime's secret ambitions right up to the very end. By April 1945, the underground fortresses in the mountains were unfinished and out of reach. The final stand would happen where it all began, in Berlin. The Führerbunker was now an island, surrounded by the Soviet Red Army. Above ground, the city was a wasteland. Below, in the stale, recycled air, Hitler and his inner circle commanded phantom armies on maps as artillery shells shook the ground. The end came with terrifying speed. On April 29th, Hitler married Eva Braun and dictated his will. Less than 40 hours later, they were dead by suicide. With Hitler gone, the spell was broken. The bunker was no longer a fortress. It was a tomb waiting to be sealed. A desperate plan was hatched: break out and try to fight through the Soviet lines. What followed was not an organized escape, but a series of chaotic, panicked flights into the ruins of the city. This sets the stage for one of World War II's most enduring mysteries. One of the breakout groups was led by Martin Bormann, Hitler's powerful and shadowy private secretary. They used damaged subway tunnels to navigate the battlefield before emerging near a bridge where they ran straight into Soviet tank fire. The group scattered. A Hitler youth leader named Arthur Axmann, who was with them, later claimed he doubled back and saw the bodies of Bormann and a doctor, Ludwig Stumpfegger, lying in the moonlight. But with no body, the story wasn't over. Bormann was sentenced to death in absentia at Nuremberg, and for decades rumours swirled that he had escaped, sparking a global manhunt. Had he made it to South America like other high-ranking Nazis? The truth, it turned out, was far less dramatic. In 1972, construction workers in Berlin uncovered 2 skeletons, right where Axmann said he had seen the bodies. Dental records suggested they belonged to Bormann and Stumpfegger. Finally, in 1998, a DNA test was performed, matching the skeleton's DNA to one of Bormann's living relatives. It was a perfect match. Tiny fragments of glass found in the jaw confirmed the final detail. They had killed themselves by biting cyanide capsules to avoid capture. The Great Escape had ended just a few blocks from where it began. The story of these bunkers is a fascinating mix of architecture, warfare, and psychology. If you find uncovering hidden history like this as interesting as we do, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. We're dedicated to digging up these forgotten stories and giving them the detail they deserve. The desperate breakout from the Führer bunker was the only major escape attempted from these command posts. At Obersalzberg, American troops arrived to find a shattered and abandoned retreat. Project Riese was simply overrun by the Red Army. Its massive tunnels left dark and silent. The idea of an organized mass escape from a besieged fortress was a myth. The reality, proven by Martin Bormann, was chaos and failure. It's crucial to separate these failed bunker escapes from the very real rat lines that helped men like Adolf Eichmann and Josef Mengele flee to South America after the war. Those were clandestine networks, not dramatic last-minute flights from a collapsing bunker. In the end, the secret underground empire built to ensure the survival of the Reich was nothing more than a collection of concrete tombs. They became the final witnesses to the regime's collapse, the claustrophobic stages for its leaders' suicides, and the starting points for failed escapes into a world that wanted them gone. Today, they stand as silent monuments, not to power, but to a desperate, failed flight from history itself.